who we are. You know, and we developed our strong muscles on the legs, our hands, our senses in order to survive. And that's why we are, or at least we think that we are, the most smartest species on this planet. Maybe we are not, because there are a lot of other creatures, animals, they are much smarter than us, but at least we can exchange with each other, we develop languages and all that stuff. So this was a slow process over millions of years, you know, and of course we have developed into a nearly perfect creature. But what happens now in the past 150 years? The evolution is losing more and more balance. Why? Because our environment is changing so quickly around us. And you can believe it or not, whenever I come to Singapore, the next day I'm tired. I feel it really. I feel it that I'm more tired when I'm here comparing to this little village up in the mountains where I live in Switzerland when I'm at home. Because it's not because I'm ill or something, it's because the environment is so different. And if you're not used to this environment and you have to go into this different environment, you feel the impact pretty tremendously, I must say this, you know. Maybe you, when you live here, you don't feel it so much anymore because you already get used to it. You know, it doesn't mean that you are more healthy or less healthy, you just, you know, you get used to the environment. And maybe when you go on a vacation on a nice island, where you don't have this environment, you immediately feel better. You know, and it's because, you know, feeling better or worse, it has a lot to do nowadays with changing your environment. And this is very important to understand, also in regards to health and illness. If we want to change a situation within our body, you know, we always have to first change the environment around us and inside us. This is very important. Changing the environment inside us is, for example, drinking healthy water. That immediately changes the environment inside you. Eating organic, healthy food. That immediately changes your environment. And suddenly the body starts initiating some healing processes, which was not able before because it was kind of a blockage inside our body. So that's very important. So by losing this balance in evolution, we create more and more illnesses which were unknown 50, 100, 150 years ago and before. Severe chronic illnesses. You know, do you know the number one environmentally related illness which we have to face nowadays? Do you know what it is? What do you think? Allergies. Allergies. We have, especially the younger generations, they have to deal with all kinds of allergies. An allergy is nothing else than an autoimmune reaction. So that means the immune system of the body is not able to deal with the information which is coming inside. It cannot protect our organism because it doesn't know this information. And this becomes worse and worse and worse. And now we need a couple generations, you know, within the process of evolution, to slowly adapt to this situation again. And unfortunately, our generation, you know, our children, and hopefully our mothers and grandfathers, they are still here, you know, they suffer from this process the most because now we are living within this shift. With all this technology, with all this resources which we take from our green planet, you know, and which we actually, you know, cut off the tree we sit on. This is happening right now. And the development of severe chronic disease is just a result of this. Alzheimer's, Parkinson, you know, it's mostly environmentally related. High amount of toxins due to spending most of the time of your life working in places which have not a healthy environment. You know, these are all things which, unfortunately, classical medicine doesn't look close at it. But we, from the other side, from the side of energy medicine, from the side of holistic approach, we already know about this, and we try to catch the problem from the other side. Remember in the morning the example with the fish in the bowl. Instead of doing a surgery on the fish, change the water. This is exactly the philosophy behind it. You know? And because you see all this, you know, this didn't happen 100, 150 years ago and before. And 100 years ago, no allergies were known because there was nothing to be allergic against. So this kind of reaction from our organism didn't even happen. And now it happens on a daily basis because everything becomes intense. Intense in terms of either deficiency or overload. When we eat something, we get about 20 to 30% of the real content, what we need to transform this food into energy comparing to 50, 60 years ago. Because our food doesn't contain of all the necessary nutrients anymore, you know, because it's all taken out already by artificial interference. Genetically modified food and so on and so on. So you know, our bodies are running constantly either in a deficiency or in an overload. And this creates problems, diseases, which we are not even aware of and which we have no clue where they come from and which we finally have no clue how to treat them. It's a big problem. No? A very interesting disease, which is actually no disease, I would like to mention is fibromyalgia. Maybe you heard about this. Ever heard about fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia is a disease. When you translate it from the Latin terms, fibromyalgia, it means nothing like pain in the muscles and fibers. This is what it means when you translate it word by word. So actually, fibromyalgia is not a disease, it just describes symptoms. And as you know, if you're a little bit aware of this condition, the classical medical field has no clue where it comes from, and it has no clue how to treat it. Nowadays, a chronic fibromyalgia patient can be only treated with painkillers. Because they are in horrible pain, really, constant, horrible pain. And there is nothing what you can do except to suppress the symptom, so to take painkillers, because we don't know where this tricky condition comes from. In the field of energy medicine, we know where this comes from. And now listen, it's very interesting. Fibromyalgia is nothing else than a magnetic field deficiency. Wow. Interesting, huh? So, why this? Why magnetic field deficiency? Well, very simple. Maybe you heard about this fact that our planet Earth is containing of its own electromagnetic field. Did you hear about that? It's called the Earth magnetic field. The Earth magnetic field is a constant force which surrounds us since the beginning of all life. And it is a abundant energy which unfortunately decreases more and more, interferes more and more by the way we treat our planet. For example, we build more and more skyscrapers, more and more concrete buildings. We expose our atmosphere with more and more electromagnetic artificial information caused by GSM, caused by Wi-Fi, caused by Bluetooth, caused by GPS, caused by satellites. You know? Bottom line is that more and more artificial information cover the natural information which we were surrounded by until 100, 150 years ago. And you must understand, about 135 years ago, it was for the first time on the existence of our planet, at least what we know, that we started surrounding us with artificial information. You know which invention was responsible for that? It was the invention of electricity. Nikola Tesla. You know, when we invented and when we created electricity, that was for the first time we created man-made frequencies and started exposing ourselves and our environment with this. Without this invention, we would not have this, we would not have this, we would also not have skyscrapers, because without electricity you cannot run elevators, and you don't want to walk up on the 72nd floor every morning to your office by stairs, which would be much more healthy, of course. But, you know, who wants to do this? And in the evening you have to go 72 floors down again by foot. Nobody wants that. So, this was actually the initial invention which not only created the whole hype of industrialization, which also created the huge change of our entire environment. And we talk about a time frame of 150 years. Comparing to the million years of general evolution, this is nothing, it's a blink of an eye. And you must understand that our organisms are not able to adapt so quickly to all these changes. And right now we are we live in a time frame, according to the evolution, where there is a lot of change going on, and unfortunately we suffer from that because we are guests on our planet right within that time frame, which is nothing, you know, comparing to the whole history. And this is what we have to understand. And if we would be more educated in this field, all people who are working in the medical field, if they would know about this knowledge, if they would consider this so important as we do, we would have less ill people because we would treat conditions in a different way. And this is what we educate people, you know, instead of doing the surgery with a goldfish when it's ill and taking out of the water, try to change the water first and see how the fish is doing. And when the fish is not showing progress over a certain period of time, then you can still take him out and, you know, take a closer look what's really wrong. But this is something we have to do nowadays in order to understand this correlation between health and illness, and in order to treat it, you know, effectively. Nothing is anymore like it used to be. And of course, in high-dense areas like Singapore, you have everything artificial in a very, very narrow area. You have all the skyscrapers, you have millions of people using mobile phones every day. Can you imagine the amount of information which is in the air? And we always think, oh, that doesn't do anything to us. I will show you later on, and I will prove that these information which are artificially created, they definitely harm us. Not primary, but because they change the environment, you know, it creates either a deficiency or an overload, and we secondarily start suffering from this. This is very important to understand. So why is nothing like it was before anymore? I mentioned it, it's the global changes in our environment. Food quality. We have not enough resources, natural resources anymore, to feed our stomachs. Because we are too many people on this planet, and we have too less natural resources. So we must create new modalities to fulfill the demand of food, so we start creating artificial food. No? GMO. This is actually a very horrible development, because it's the same with smartphones. The smartphone is not even 20 years old. We don't have any long-term studies which show what really happens the impact when you use a mobile phone 20 minutes a day, what happens to your tissue over there, whether the brain tumor will become exposed or not. These are all things we don't even know. We just use it without knowing all this because the technology is too young. You know, I can tell you we have already lots of studies within the 10-15 years range which definitely show that if you use a smartphone over a certain period of time every day, your risk of developing a brain tumor is 50 to 150 times higher. This is fact. Nobody wants to see these studies. They were all suppressed, but the studies are there. You can find them on the internet. But nobody likes to publish that because there is a big industry behind. There is big money behind and a big business. You know? And I can just please you, educate your children not to use this gadget every day on a constant basis. Because your children will develop diseases in an earlier stage than we did, our mother and fathers did, and our grandfathers and grandmothers did. You know, it's not that we can take it away from them because it's already part of the lifestyle. But we must educate them to use these technologies responsibly. And responsibly always sometimes means no, not now, and not right away.
Since you're on this, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Since it's so prevalent in times like this that children are so used to all this technology, would this thing...
yes, we will talk about this. Yeah, absolutely. Would this thing, he said, would this thing,
counteract.
Yeah. He needs an insurance for his behavior. This is what everybody's looking for, you know. I know it.
That would be a good selling
yes,
point.
I know. So, because this is our behavior, you know. If we do something wrong, before we stop doing this, because it's not possible, we always look for an insurance to calm down and to do to do further what we did in the past, you know. And yes, you can do something always, but everything comes with a price.
Yeah.
Everything, you know. And the price here is very low. Beside the money, you have to do it. So you have to invest some time, you know. But I always say it is better to invest a couple of minutes in your health than later on to invest the rest of your life because you are ill. You know, this is something what people have to understand now in order to change behavior and to change their lifestyle. But this is a big problem. So we have the food problem. Food, wrong food, unhealthy food creates deficiency. You know, it's like if you put diesel in a race car, you know, you create a deficiency. You cannot demand full power if you don't put the best fuel inside. And this is actually the same with our engine here. If you don't put the best fuel inside, you cannot demand the best performance. And this is something you have to learn. It's very simple. You know? And of course, if you eat something wrong for 1 or 2 times, the body can compensate it. You know? But if you do this on an ongoing basis, you know, then you will automatically run into a problem. And you can't get out of this problem overnight anymore. Environmental pollution, we heard it, you know. We have all the toxins caused by the cars. We have an overload on cars on this planet. You know, almost everybody has a car. You know, we have the electromagnetic pollution, which is huge. You know, caused by all these sources I mentioned already. And it's going more and more and more. It's an ongoing basis. China has big problems now because all the factories are not environmentally safe, you know. All the waste is going somewhere. And of course, you know, if you don't see it anymore, it doesn't mean that it's not there anymore. It comes back to the atmosphere. You know, it's a bounce, it's a pushback effect. Yeah, it cannot disappear. And the more you fill in, the more will come back. And this is just what's going to happen right now. Shortage of resources. You know, we are, of course, we demand increased mobility. you know, 150 years ago, before cars were developed, you had to show efforts, for example, to get food. Maybe you had to invest a whole day to go to shopping, because you had to walk with your own legs. It was the time when we still used these big muscles here. You know why the muscles here are so big? Because we are designed to walk 25 kilometers a day. I know everybody in the room is still doing that, but people outside don't walk anymore. You understand what I mean? This is why we have these huge muscles here. Nowadays, when we sit 8 hours, the only thing what these muscles do, they are painful from sitting all the time. Because we are not designed to do this the whole day. We are designed to walk, to look for food, to bring it home, to be happy, to eat, to sleep. We are, designed to move. And then, also very important, stress becomes a factor when we talk about diseases. If a person is constantly under stress, your entire hormone system shifts. That creates toxicity in your body. Toxicity which cannot be balanced anymore. And if you have ongoing stress over a long period, that creates chemical problems within your entire metabolism. The result is disease. And last but not least, I mentioned that artificial frequencies. Everything which is not naturally provided, which is man-made, that creates a huge impact on our entire life. So with the invention of electricity, we artificially affected and influenced our intact environment, and for the first time with electricity we were surrounded by unnaturally produced information from the electromagnetic spectrum. And of course, like I said, we are not able to adapt so quickly to these changes. It takes a couple generations, because we are very slow when it comes to replication. There are bacteria in your mouth, they replicate 24,000 times per day. They can very quickly adapt to changes. They are in your saliva inside your mouth. They replicate themselves 24,600 times per day in 24 hours. So they create 24,600 generations in one day. And we need about 40 to 60 years to create a new generation. There you can see how slow we are and how low is our capability to adapt to changes. And that's why these bacteria become more and more nasty, because they are so resistant, because if the environment changes, they quickly adapt within a blink of an eye and create the next generation and give the information, hey, please be careful because we have a new situation there. And we cannot do this. No? Maybe in 1 million years, every human being will have an antenna to determine which informations are good. So go there, and if there is a bad information, you go out. By the way, you have already these antennas. You probably just don't use it intentionally. Did it ever happen that you enter a room and there are some people inside and you immediately don't feel comfortable? Did it ever happen to you? It happens to everybody. You don't know why. You just go in and say, no, I want to get out of here. You don't know if it's the color of the wall, if it's the haircut of him, if it's the voice of me. Yeah, you know what I mean? You just don't feel comfortable. And then what you do is, you make a decision. You either stick with it, sometimes you have to, so you're probably not in good mood, or you're strong enough mentally to say, okay, I turn it around and make the best out of it Or you run out of the room. You said, I'm sorry, but this is not mine. You know? And you do this totally subconsciously. However, there must be some trigger to inform you that something's wrong here. And this is something which we unfortunately cannot prove with Newton's physics. And that's why for the existing science, this phenomenon is not existent, because they cannot prove it. However, with quantum physics, you can. You know, because quantum physics deals with information and not with capable things with which we can smell, touch, see, hear with our senses. And in order to understand quantum physics and in order to understand technologies which are based on energy medicine or frequencies, we have to open our minds, you know, and we have to widen our horizons and deal and understand these kind of phenomena. I give you another example. You sit on a table and suddenly you turn around because you feel that somebody behind you is looking at you. It happened to everybody of you. How can this happen? There is no proof in Newton's physics for this phenomenon. However, you sense it. Right? And you turn around and exactly this person looks at you. And you have no chance to see this person. No chance because you have no eyes. But somehow you sense there is something going on behind me. Isn't that funny? You know, and this is quantum physics. There are little electromagnetic parts, we call them quarks, and there is an ongoing exchange of information between our body and our environment. It's the same with the Chinese qi, the life energy. You cannot measure this life energy. Yes, you can. You have the meridians. You can see some, but it's not capable. When you open a human body, you cannot see the life energy. However, it's there. You know, what differentiates a good speaker from a bad speaker? It's his aura. It's so-called aura. It's his way how he interacts with the public. It's the exchange of information. It's the exchange of vibration. It's the exchange of frequencies. You know, if I am able to send out frequencies which you like and you go in resonance with, I'm a good speaker. If I stand here and send some vibrations to you which you don't like, I can do what I want. You know, you will never talk or remember this day as a good day, because you always remember, he was not good. You know, no, he was not good. I don't know why, but he was not good. It's, you know, this is energy medicine. If I want to be successful today, together with you, I must be able to reach a certain frequency spectrum which you are able to resonate with, because when you are able to resonate with, you can deal with this information in a positive way. And this is the basic idea of energy medicine. In order to apply energy and to create a positive effect with this energy, you must make sure that the frequencies, the information you apply, can be understood by the receiver, and the receiver must be able to resonate with it. This is the principle of energy medicine, and this is, by the way, also the principle of PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic fields. So, the content of the information you apply is crucial whether you create a positive, a negative, or no effect. Does it make sense to you? Totally, yeah? It's so simple that science doesn't look at it, because it's too simple. But it totally makes sense. You know, and I mentioned electrosmog. Electrosmog is the fashionable word for all existing artificial electromagnetic informations caused by all these sources which we are surrounded by. Smartphones, tablets, GPS, satellites, yes, all that stuff, Bluetooth, you know, cordless home phone. Who uses a cordless home phone?